This is Teacher Will, and in today's video I want to talk about cake. I want to share with you some of my favorite cakes. Now, I did not make these particular cakes. These are called cheesecakes, and there's another cake I'm going to share with you. I did not make these particular cakes. I bought them at a store. I like to cook, but I really don't know how to make desserts that much. And if so, the only dessert that I really know how to make is sweet potato pie. But with that being said, this is cheesecake, and we have two different types of cheesecake. We have strawberry cheesecake and blueberry cheesecake. This is called the topping, or the frost, or the icing. So we have two different types: strawberry cheesecake, blueberry cheesecake. Now, the other cake that I really like, and I haven't had it in a long time, and I'm gonna probably eat it later, is this is red velvet cake. So we have different cakes. We have the red velvet cake and we have the cheesecakes. Strawberry cheesecake, blueberry cheesecake. Now, what do these cakes have in common, if anything? Well, let's say, are you the type of person that knows how to make cakes? Again, I really don't make desserts, but if you want to make a red velvet cake, or if you want to make a cheesecake, what are some of the ingredients that you need to make a cake? Well, I would say flour, water, baking soda, eggs, yeast, vanilla, and whatever you need, other ingredients that you might add. But the basic ingredients for making a cake is the aforementioned. Doesn't this look good? But you might ask the question, Teacher Will, cake, okay, you like cake and you're showing me different types of cakes. What is the point of this video? Well, here's what I want you to think of. When you think of a cake, and the foundations of a cake, the flour, the salt, the baking powder, is it possible that you can relate a cake to English? I think it is. Listen, when you're making a cake, whether or not you're making a red velvet cake or you're making the cheesecakes, you have certain foundations, right? I want you now to think of English as a cake. And so the foundations of English, for me, could be motivation, pronunciation, clarity, intonation, enunciation. This is the foundation of your English. That's right. Your English is now the cake. You have the foundations. And after you're done with the cake, you have a choice of different toppings or frostings that you can put on it. So, you've decided to make a cheesecake English cake. This is a foundation, right? But then you have different toppings. Blueberry, strawberry. Now the toppings on your cake, I want you to think whether they're the cheesecake or it's the red velvet. The topping or the icing is considered, or what I want you to think of, is the icing or the topping is considered, or you can consider it, accent. An accent, for those of you that don't know, is the distinctive way in which you speak your native language and also English. Now, notice, in case you don't know, you can look at a previous video that I did, but your accent is shaped at a very young age. Your accent is the distinctive way in which you speak, and your accent is shaped by many different factors: your culture, your socioeconomic background, your level of education. And accents come in different forms, different shapes, just like the toppings. Now, why am I saying or making this video? Well, here's what I want you to think of. If you think of English as a cake, and whatever level that you're at, particularly if you are a beginner, I want you to focus on the foundation. Make sure that your ingredients of clarity and pronunciation and intonation is there. And then what you have the option of doing is the following. You can decide what accent you want, but see, the accent is the topping. It's not mandatory. You basically, if you wanted a cheesecake, you could just go and have no toppings at all. Focus on the foundations of English. And as it relates to your accent, it is not mandatory. Public service announcement. It is not mandatory that you have to sound or have a native accent. Right? That is something that you can do that's aspirational. And if you want a accent, if it's native, then figure out what accent, what topping you want. And that takes many months and years of shadowing and practicing and mimicking and copying. But here's something that I want you to think of. If you don't have the foundation, if I want to eat this cake, if I don't have the clarity, the intonation, the pronunciation, the topping or the accent really doesn't make the cake good. It's kind of like I'm just eating a cake with the icing and not having the full portion, not enjoying it. What's the relationship to that to English? Well, listen, if I want to thoroughly enjoy my English journey, my process of learning, focus on the foundation, and then the topping is your choice. I hope that makes sense to you. Which cake do you want? Do you have the clarity, the pronunciation, the motivation to do it? What am I saying? Ooh, I almost ate the cake. What am I saying? At the end of the day, focus on the foundations of your English cake. Once you have that, choose your topping. And at the end of the day, your topping, your accent, it's part of who you are. Be proud of that. So if you like this video, let me know what you think in the comment section. Click on that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so that when I drop a video, you are made aware of it. See you later. It's time to eat some cake.